The last weeks, we've seen these small gatherings here in Piccadilly Gardens, flooding with more people. First it was the Spanish, then some Greeks joined, now we boast some more people, and we have now aspirations of actually affecting and having a very useful connection with a movement here in Britain. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things we've been keep hearing by the people from above. And by people from above, I mean it's the industrialists, it's the bankers, it's the governments, and their parrots which are lying in the media, the journalists we read in the mainstream newspapers and the mainstream TV. So they talk, usually when in Britain, they try to talk about people of the South. They dismiss us as the lazy people of the South who would prefer to take siestas and go out at night and spend all their money, and that's why these guys are in debt right now. This, excuse me for the language, I think it's bullshit. Because data say that. The latest data shows that Greek and Spanish people worked, Greeks worked on a year, 2,120 hours a year. Much higher in a ranking than Britain, when people worked 1,653 hours. It doesn't mean the British are more lazy or the Greeks are more hardworking. It means it has to do with what people have won, what workers have won in the previous struggles, and how these are taken back. When we work more, they exploit us more. This is a basic thing. You know, when your boss says, you're going to stay more, you're not going to be paid for this, you know you're being exploited. That's the basis of everything. And we can feel it, everybody who had even one day of work. And also all this money, they say that we had accumulated all this money because of our consumption, because we consume too much. Also this is false, because we have paid in Greece, for example, 450 billions the last decade only to repay older interest payments, and our debt has grown within 1 year from 113% to 147%. This means that all this money that keeps piling up is to go for repayments of older debt which we're not responsible for. All this debt went for internal deals within the European Union. The bonds, and they know it very well, the bonds are held by British, French, German and Greek banks, and they're giving all they can. They let out the dogs of war in order to convince us that the Greeks and the Spanish and the Italian, the Irish and Portuguese people should pay for that. Well, I say the opposite. I say we should decline the payment. We should deny the debt, because we don't want also the working people of Britain, the working people of Germany, of the whole Europe, to be paying our own banks and their own banks back. And that should be one of the main slogans, that deny the debt. It's not ours, we don't recognize it, we didn't see any of that money, and we are not in this together with them. So a bit further on to what's going to be efficient about our movement. And I would have to disagree with some previous thing that was said, that strikes do not work. Seriously, Greece had 11 general strikes last year, which played a huge important role of the movement we are seeing today. The people who are on the streets, the indignated people, the people who are outraged, they were following the strikes, they were doing what they would, they were in the streets, they were in their workplaces, and they followed the strikes. And now, next week, I don't know if you heard the news flash, our government resigned 2 days ago. They resigned because all these people went on a general strike, besieging the parliament, besieging every authority building, and tried to convince them and try to force them to resign, to go away. We don't want them. We don't want them to deal with the IMF, the European Central Bank, and the European Union. And next week, when they're going to be about to vote for this new deal with the IMF of this middle-term program, which they're going to give the 5th installment of what they were supposed to be, the debt relief. The Greek trade unions announced a 48-hour general strike, which is going to happen. Is this important or not? Is this a good example or not? I think yeah, and we have to put all of our effort to generalize this, to bring this experience to generalize what we're seeing in Spain, what we're seeing in Greece, to bring it here.
Talk about Iceland. Talk about Iceland.
I don't have the time. Somebody else could follow up and talk about Iceland as well. So we should give all our things, like I think we should have an assembly, a special assembly, just for discussing next week at some point, probably Wednesday, as we do always, to discuss some technical things. Who is going to have responsibility to do banner making? Who is going to be where in the morning? We should have a banner of our own. We should be like the Real Democracy Manchester has an appearance in Manchester. It's in the side of people in Manchester who are going to march for their own rights. Sorry for taking too much long. I think this is going to get only bigger. We are here, and they should back up, because we're going to sweep them up and we're going to see them live in helicopters. Thank you.